What's up, YouTube? I think I was playing music. I don't know if it's coming through, so I kind of want to make this one short. It's also the end of the day. I slept over at someone's house last night, so I didn't really get the chance to record anything. Is that true? Yeah. This morning I didn't get a chance to record anything, but I just want to say that I'm feeling a little bit better, and overall positive. I think the message of today's video, for myself at least, is going to be positive. I think that I wanted to go through something today. Yesterday. I'm saying today because I wrote it down today. Today, I'd say it again. Yesterday, I was at a classmate's party, and I pulled up with another classmate, one of the Americans, and I asked him what mark he got for the last assignments, and he told me he got perfect 70s. You know, pretty much highest. He got like perfect first. I didn't, and it made me question for a while. And I really purposely tried to question it, really look at it, because I always looked at his writing process as different than mine, but different in a bad way, because I thought I knew what I was doing, and it turns out he knows what he's doing. So it said to me that, like, what's the value of my process? And I had to really think about that. But it's very specific, obviously, because what works for him wouldn't work for me. He says to me that he always just sits down for 10 minutes a day. Minimum 10 minutes a day in front of his laptop. And he writes. Some days he does more 10 minutes, some days he does nothing, but he always sits there for 10 minutes. Minimum. And I took that as like really good advice. And but the thing is, after we got over that, we were both talking, shooting the shit, you know, and talking about writing, talking about processes, talking about all sorts, talking about stories, and you know, I love this guy. I value this guy, and especially his writings and his advice. He's a fun guy to be around, and he's definitely a good complimenter. But it did make me question, like, why am I so jealous? Yeah, he might be better than me. Objectively, a lot of people are. So why am I particularly jealous? And why did that make me think about giving up? And I really had to think about it. And I put it somewhere here in the journal. Mind you, somebody got me this for Christmas. Gorgeous. Put it somewhere in the journal, and I thought it might be worthwhile revisiting. Let me try and read this. There are so many people in the world who are naturally talented. There are people we idolize. There are people who have true skill. But there are other types, and today we find that the best type is people who see the odds and say how hard it is, but out of love they continue. And then I'll put a little quote there by Jim Carrey. You know, the one where he's standing on that whole, you know, his dad failed at what he didn't want to do, so you may as well do what you want to do. I think that the message of what I'd put in there, mind you, I wrote so much more than that. Bloody hell, I was on there for ages. But, you know, the message there was like, it doesn't matter about anybody else's process. Because I'm never going to write like Stephen King, and I think I've said that before, so why would I write like Nate? And Nate may as well be Stephen King. He's phenomenal at writing. And then the person's birthday we went to, I don't want to disclose her name, she's way better than me. Way better than me. But there's times where I value my poetry. There's times where I value my writing. And I think it made us realize a little bit that, like, writing is quite an isolated game. You're in your own mind, thinking about your own stories, trying to produce your own work. And it's a really comparative thing, you know, at times. But deep down, you know, I got a comment on a video the other day about, like, the reason for writing being so internally that it's ineffable. Yeah, that's kind of the ballpark here is that it's internal and ineffable. So there's not really a reason. There's no reason behind one's process. There's no reason behind one's growth. Now, I also said this in the journal, and I do believe this. Just go till you're 30. Go till you're 30, because if you go till you're 30, naturally, because of the time you've been going for, especially if you're my age, if you're around 18 or something, whatever it is, however young or however old you've started, you know, for me, it'll be 7 more years. 7 more years of this craft, I'll get good at it. I'll be a lot better than I am now, and I'll be able to do a lot of the work that I said I want to do. I will. Well, if I keep growing and keep learning, if I keep, just living my ordinary life, but always I'm just trying to learn as a writer, that's the tricky part, is sticking that up. But naturally, if you just keep at it, you'd be so good at it. Time makes a lot of good people great, and a lot of bad people good, you know? So basically, just stick at it. Basically, stick at it. And don't be jealous. I was like, one moment I'm looking around my room, half on my knees, in thanks, because I was just so grateful for everything I had. The next moment I'm like, why am I not as talented as somebody else? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You are who you are. You got that purpose. You got that passion. That's your journey. That's your life. Do that. Make your mistakes. Get your lows and your highs. If your high is not as high as somebody else's, maybe your lows is not as lows as theirs. This life is a ball game there, you know? Whatever this means. It's a tricky life. But I think if you don't take it for anything except internal struggle, battle, growth, learning, you might find a couple of details where you overfixate and you kind of get it wrong, and you let things tunnel your vision that don't need to. There's no need to be jealous of anybody else. There's no reason. I promise you, if you just find a project you really want to do and finish it, that's called being a writer. You finish a project. There's always more room. There's always more tweaking. There's always more drafts. And I'm telling you now, Nate, the guy, could probably write what I want to write, but really well. And he's talked about writing Bike of War quite well. And he wanted to get some details on it, just to feel more comfortable than writing it. If he wrote that and that went viral, obviously I'd be a bit jealous. Obviously I would. Because I'd be like, why is there someone from America writing about Bike of War? And it's gone crazy, but I'm not seeing anyone from Biker who's and it's mess with my head. Say that came to pass. You can't write what I have in here, because that's not the point of writing. It's the location, is the story, and who tells it. The point of writing is you, your location, your story, your heart, the things you have to tell. That's what's important. And I think I got a really good bit of inspiration today, because I had a story of, I basically met someone, I just started talking to them, and it's big inspiration. And I think I might put that into a project I'm doing soon. And I'm hearing music. I'm guaranteeing that the video's picking this up, so I'll probably end it here. Maybe the video isn't, but yeah, this guy was super interested in his mom and the whole journey back, and I found that I could write something there, that I could produce something there, that it could go into a bigger thing, because I'm trying to work with an ensemble at this point, trying to do a project with multiple perspectives. Not perspectives per se, omniscient, multiple, over the shoulders. So I'm really looking at that, and I think he could be a big inspiration for a couple of characters. And I definitely met somebody who was a real person, and that definitely helps. Nobody's gonna write the stories you have in your heart. That's the point of writing. Dostoevsky never would have wrote about some 21st century basically, Dostoevsky could not have wrote what Bret Easton Ellis wrote. Bret Easton Ellis could not have wrote what Dickens wrote. Dickens couldn't have wrote what Bradbury could have wrote. Bradbury couldn't write what Lovecraft wrote. Lovecraft couldn't write what Sanderson wrote. Sanderson couldn't write what C.S. Lewis wrote. C.S. Lewis couldn't write. Well, I'm just gonna start digging myself deeper holes. Let's pick up a fine loafer. Yeah, Lewis couldn't have wrote what Shakespeare wrote, and Shakespeare couldn't have wrote what Camus wrote. So basically, write your story, because that's what writing is about. It's about participating in a world of literature to present your stories to the larger audience of the world, so that we all know each other's stories, and together we're able to express through word, through language, through poetry. I'm pausing to think of something, but the music's playing. That we have our stories to tell, and our stories are important. Your story is just as important as Stephen King's, regardless of monetary value. Your story is just as important as mine, if not more. Go write your story, and I'll write mine. Don't be jealous of anybody else. These are your friends. Just read or something. Just write. Enjoy your week. Monday's coming up. Have a good week.